Hey, everybody, we've got Thursday night action. We've got little Sam Howell, little Justin Fields. We'll see how that goes. And maybe you think this isn't such a fun game tonight. This was a game that we had circled on our calendar that we as a show wanted to be at. We wanted to be there in the Washington area checking this game out. It's a big one. There's a lot of implications. You're getting Sam Howell coming off a loss, but a 3-touchdown, 300-yard performance, and he's crushing it and gets the national stage. And I'm rooting for him, and I can't wait for that. Chicago, winless, womp womp. They got to get something going. We have a parlay. Gronk and I, if you want to dabble in this game and have fun, if you have no rooted interest or you think it's a not fun game at FedEx Field. Okay, we have Darius Butler on the show, which we love. We're going to talk to him about Jimmy Butler. Maybe Darius will want to echo his style, his emo vibes. And then we also have Joe Posnanski, who wrote Why We Love Baseball, a history in 50 moments. He's getting us set for the playoffs, of course, and we're going to go down memory lane a little bit as well. Stay tuned. Everybody, we have football tonight. I'm trying to see if my Zoom is okay. We're going to do it like this. This thing is balancing on a vase upside down because we're having some, when you're in the house in the old dojo, things get complicated, like this wire. What's this wire even doing here? Welcome to the show. I see your YouTube comments. I'm watching the chat. I'm monitoring everything. We got a big game tonight. See how my computer's wobbling, guys? I'm trying to have it be eye level, but that's okay. We've got a lot going on here with the Commanders and the Bears to get into. It's a really big moment for both teams, guys. Commander side, this is the first time the national audience, like I said, gets a look, gets a peek at Sam Howell. And outside of the disastrous Bills game that I want to remember, I've been so impressed. And this is somebody in me who's been overhyping this quarterback. We got such a little baby taste of him when he was with the Cowboys, that Week 18 game. I talked to him a lot about it when I met him back in August there at training camp. But he's led the Commanders to a league-leading 2 fourth-quarter comeback wins. And that led the rally to force overtime against the Eagles last week. Even though Sam has flashed lots of talent, there's some issues with the team that do need to be addressed, and that's probably why they're sitting there middle and mid, average 5, right? 2-2 for the season so far. So first, the issue is, if you're watching this game, you haven't really paid close attention to the Commanders. The O-line has not performed up to task. It was the big question that everybody wanted to talk about when I was at camp. Is the O-line going to be good? Is Sam Howell the guy? Sam Howell's the guy. The O-line has to protect him. He's been sacked 24 times, guys. That's more than any other quarterback in the league. Like Daniel Jones is like, oh man, Sam Howell, I feel bad for you. Let me send you some flowers this morning, right? Like the foundation of the team, the revamp, the whatever, the reconfiguration, like it's really struggled if you take a look. Washington's allowing 30 points more per game this year. Only the Giants, the Bears, the Broncos have worse. So there's too much talent on the squad to be in this type of company. Let's be honest. And after games against the Bills and Eagles, maybe the Bears are what the Commanders need to get things turned around. So I'm not going to spend too much time on my woeful, sad story Bears. There's so many good Bears. Paddington Bear was a good bear. Gummy Bears are great. The Berenstein Bears, if anybody was born in the 90s and had a Chicago Public Library card, like there's good Bears. These are not them. There have been good Chicago Bears, but these are not them. One of those Bears, Matt Forte, joining us on the show tomorrow to recap this. And it's like, do I want to win if I have Forte, or do I want a loss? I think I want a loss. I think I want the asteroid to have Matt Forte really dig into what's going on here. We know what it is in Chicago. They're 0-4. There's constant drama. That's not dying down. This week, it's the Chase Claypool mess that nobody seems to be prepared to talk about, which is weird. And that's all coming to a head. Does somebody have I'm actually dying for this. Somebody have a positive to hold on to with the Bears? I guess you're looking at the draft picks, right? You're looking at the 2 draft picks they're holding on to. Like I said earlier, I forgot who I was talking to Taylor Lewan. They should just have some fun out there. Tie some players together, 3-legged race it, put like a blindfold on, see how well they can do. And they should just pack it in and look at those draft picks. If not, if you Chicago fans think I'm crazy and you want to stop being the butt of everyone's joke, like go out there and shut them up on national TV. I give you a shot against the old Chiefs the other week, thinking like that Justin Fields media drama would galvanize everybody. It didn't. You have an opportunity, bright lights, tell everybody to shut up. All right, and if you missed yesterday's show, we did have Gronk on the whole show, which was fun. Rob Ninkovich stopped by, and we have been on a roll. So allow me to recap the no sweat same game parlay. Commanders money line, check. Howell 225 plus passing yards, check. Cole Kmet, 25 plus receiving yards, and Brian Robinson, anytime touchdown. I know you're thinking like Brian Robinson has scored nothing but touchdowns. He has 4 touchdowns in 4 games, guys. Get in on the fun if you want. Right now, all FanDuel customers can get bonus bets back if it doesn't hit, or you can build your own parlay. Either way, do not miss out on your chance. Only on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So what does that mean if you go with our parlay, which I think you should because we're on fire and we drink champagne on Wednesdays because of it? Or if you want to do your own thing, make it, at least 3 legs, I think you get to have a no sweat parlay, and you get back bonus bets to use elsewhere on America's #1 sportsbook. Okay, now we got to get into the biggest game of the weekend, people. It's the Cowboys. They're taking on the Niners. This is huge, and there's so many ins and outs and, Big Lebowski, what have yous to this thing. San Francisco has, bounced Dallas, as we all know, back-to-back times in the playoffs. And there's a pretty rich history between these two squads, and they all have it going on. And I want to talk about the Trey Lance angle of all of this, if you guys will allow me. I know you're thinking Trey Lance isn't there anymore, calm down, but he's sort of a bit of a connective storyline between the two. So let's do it. And Kyle Shanahan actually spoke to the media yesterday, and he was asked about what intel his former quarterback might give the Cowboys offense. Take a listen.
As much as most coaches can. I mean, you can see the plays on tape. You can explain what we look at and stuff like that, which usually you can when you can stack up a lot of tape over years, and we've been here for a while and previous. So hopefully he's talking to them all the time and making them focus totally on that instead of the simple stuff of watching the tape.
Everyone loves listening to Mike McDaniel, and I do too. And everyone likes, Tomlin's always a favorite at the podium. The mind games that Shanahan is playing rival any coach in the National Football League. And it is easy to downplay the whole thing after the Will Grier storyline last week. And I was sort of trying to make that a thing between Bill Belichick and the Cowboys and all of that. But I'm interested to see what this Cowboys defense does against what has been a relatively unstoppable, even with Debo banged up, high octane, 4-touchdown Christian McCaffrey scoring offense. So my eyes are glued to what Dak are you doing in this one? Because Dak hasn't had to do a ton so far to get this Cowboys team to this 3-1 record. He really hasn't. I don't know what he's averaging a game, people. He's averaging 227 yards, the second lowest of his career. He's only thrown 4 touchdown passes so far. And it's not that he's played poorly or anything. He just hasn't had, this is a great thing, right? He hasn't had to razzle dazzle. He had the Cardinals game, and he had to do that there because the defense actually was so good. And for the Cowboys, so he didn't have to do much, right? So I don't think the defense is going to be able to completely go to shut downtown with this whole situation, but we're going to find out a lot about him and McCarthy and really what this Texas Coast offense is all about. We talked to RJ Ochoa, one receiver has caught a touchdown. Their red zone has been bleak. There's some things to point out. If you're comparing them to the Niners, in my opinion, the Niners look better than they did last year in the playoffs when they bounced the Cowboys. Let's see if the passing game can get going a little bit. They haven't had to, and it hasn't been tested, but we'll see. All right, we also have a game going out in London. It's the Jags, it's the Bills, and it's at Tottenham Stadium, which we love. And this is 2 teams that are favored to win their divisions in the AFC, but it's also a really important rematch between Josh Allen and Josh Allen. So here's the Bills quarterback when he was asked about the Jags edge rusher.
Scares me. He got me last time we played. Yeah. He's coming off a really good week too. He's a baller.
Josh is like, hey, thanks, media guy. Yeah, a sack and an interception. Thanks for remembering that. I remember it too. And he should scare him. The Jags, Josh, let's call him that. The Jags Josh is coming off a 3-sack game. He dominated their first meeting back in 2021, which that media reporter was ready for. And Josh Allen, the quarterback, remember. So he racked up a sack, an interception, a forced fumble. He led Jacksonville to, remember this run? It was bizarro. It was 9-6. It was very weird, incredible performance, but it came at a time when Buffalo's offense was sort of hitting something of a lull. And right now this offense is firing on all cylinders. Remember Josh Allen last year after Halloween, the passing yards, the efficiency, some of the things sort of went off of the rails and on the decline. That's not happening. He's ramping up. He's doing the best of the best things right now. And they're second in the league. They're averaging 34.8 points per game. A lot of people have those Bills atop the power rankings as the most strong team in the NFL, above the Niners, above the Eagles, above everybody. FanDuel Sportsbook has them as 5.5-point favorites in this matchup. So I'm surprised it's not a little bit more. I know I'm just wetting my feet with this thing. You guys tell me how you feel, but I don't know. The Bills have been playing so lights out, but it does instead, I think, say a lot about how much people are respecting this Jags team. Who knew? Who knew that would happen? All right, we've got a big show, guys. We're going to get set for the MLB playoffs. We're going to talk to my friend Joe Posnanski about why we love baseball. All after this, I can't wait. We also have Darius Butler on the show. He'll get us set for Cowboys, Niners, the London game, and all sorts of other matchups. Can't wait. Hit up the chat now, guys. Okay. Yep. Thanks. I can. Okay. I know you guys are seeing you guys are seeing me fix my hair in the mirror, huh? Good. Guys, we had I think we got new cameras in the studio. And by the way, Ted Karras. Gotta talk about Ted Karras today. We talked to Ted Karras. Here's what I'm gonna, some things are a little wonky because I guess we don't have some things plugged in. So we literally last minute decided to do it on this thing. So you are my mirror, guys. Thank you. Let's go. Okay. So we're doing, okay, hold on. Let me make sure I have that correct. Okay. So we're going to go out from sleepers to Ted Karras. Okay. Because I have this zit in the middle of my forehead and it's been here for 2 weeks and it's just not going away. What else did I want to say? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I thought that's what the plan was. We're going to go sleepers to the rest of the C block, right? Okay. Shoot. What does that mean, offset? No, do whatever. I just do whatever you guys need to do. I'm not watching. I see no program and I see no return the whole show. Like this, we're just winging it. So whatever, yeah. But I feel good about it. I'm fine. Oriole loving Derek. Okay. Guys, I'm gonna hit you with some sleepers right now. So get your pens out and take some notes. Oh, all right, grab your notebooks, notepads. Am I the only one who still writes things, actually writes things? Oh, well, I'm going to hit you with my favorite sleepers for week 5. Firstly, I cannot believe it's week 5, but let's go through this. At quarterback, Matthew Stafford's got the Eagles. So Philly's allowing the 5th most yards to opposing quarterbacks this year, and you cannot tell me Stafford's not clipping. Is Cooper Kupp out there with Puka? Is he going to be the MVP this year, Matthew Stafford? Come on. At running back, I know we haven't seen the best out of Jahmyr Gibbs. You drafted and we had high hopes, but this week, the Panthers have given up the 3rd most yards to running backs this year, and I think he finally breaks out. And at receiver, Zay Flowers up against the Steelers. The Steelers have allowed, I don't know what's going on with the Steelers defense, but we're just exploiting them until proven otherwise. They've allowed the 2nd most points to the receiver spot this year, and I think he gets his first career touchdown this weekend. All right, we're waiting for Joe Posnanski. We're going to have Darius Butler on the show. I'm looking at your comments right now since I'm on my computer. This is kind of weird. Puka Cups, yeah, that's going to be big for this weekend. Of course, we're going to get to some of that with Darius Butler. We're going to go through some of the prop bets. Some aren't out yet, but we're going to get his quick thoughts on games because Darius Butler is great at all things FanDuel Sportsbook. KU should be in a movie. Sure, yeah, kicking and screaming. That's the one that I should be. Programming note, we are going to talk to Daniel Jones tomorrow. So he'll be on the show to wrap up the week, which I think is great. I don't know what's going on with Debo for just giving him the week off, but I will find out and I will let you guys know when he'll be on. But yes, Daniel Joe's slated to be on the show tomorrow. So love the comments, appreciate it. We have Joe Posnanski on the show in a bit to talk a little MLB playoffs, to talk maybe a little Bob Uecker. I want to ask him about him, whether or not he's coming back, and he's just the best. And he wrote this awesome book called Why We Love Baseball and A History in 50 Moments. He's a great writer. He's a positive, optimistic, joyous writer. So I just really want to talk to him as long as we can today. Okay, so here's the deal. I was in Cincinnati for training camp, and these hats were everywhere. Okay, they were absolutely everywhere, and I have assigned one because I'm so lucky. But in walked in with all the craziness of training camp. Ted Karras found me to give me this hat. He said, let me go find Kay. Let me give this to her. And Ted Karras, the center, he created them. All proceeds go to this incredible cause. And he thought he was going to get away with getting the love on Up and Adams. And boy, was he wrong. Ted, you thought you were just going to get away with having this Cincy hat raise about $1 million, or at least $1 million in sales, and get away with it? Like we weren't going to catch you doing so much goodness in your community?
Oh, thank you so much for having me on here. Yeah, to highlight, this has been an unbelievable project. When we started this, I couldn't even believe it would get this far. So it's incredible.
Tell me about what this hat means to you, what it benefits, and how many people you're affecting.
Yeah, so the whole start of this was I got coming to a new team with the Bengals. My neighbors in Florida make these hats. They were in a golf supply business. We came up with this logo, and I started giving them out just as a token of friendship, and the demand was insane. We had to sell these hats. We're going to do it for charity, and it's the only charity I support, not the only charity I support, but the number one charity I support. It's called the Village of Marici in Indianapolis, and it's the only independent living facility for adults with Down syndrome and autism in Indiana, my hometown, Indianapolis.
And that's amazing. And they offer a lot of incredible services that I've learned for adults with disabilities. What does a typical day look like for one of the residents and the autonomy that Village of Marici provides?
So it's so cool. We have a fleet of over 150 coaches. Right now, we have a wait list, a huge wait list of people to get in. So because once you're in the Village of Marici, you're in for life. And wow. They provide, a lot of different coaching, life skills. There's group activities. We provide employment opportunities, and a lot of villagers pack the hats that the Cincinnati fan base has purchased. So we have finished our first apartment building, adding on to the village, and now through hat money, we have broken ground this season on another apartment, which will house 77 residents. What
kind of inspiration do you take from being around that community?
The unbelievable positive energy and goodness that they bring. And then the village it's so easy to know you're doing the right thing, helping these people out, make a difference. I mean, everyone that I meet has a story of how this has affected their life, whether that be they have a brother, a cousin, their sister-in-law. And it's really an underserved need. And I'm very grateful that I get this opportunity to help in any way that I can. I'm a small part of the Village of Marici, but probably the most forward as far as publicity. So I'm trying to, thank you so much for having me on to spread awareness of this cause and, what their mission is, because it's truly incredible.
And I love these stories. And so I wanted to tell you that Up and Adams wants to help get to that $1 million mark. We are donating $1,000. We don't need hats. I have the hats, of course. Everybody should have a hat.
Oh man, that's really awesome stuff. And I do want to thank obviously the Cincinnati community who have dove into this, and it's created kind of an identity for the village. In a sister city of Cincinnati, but that's extremely generous, and I can't give you enough thanks.
Ted and I talked a lot about his role on this team. Obviously not the start that they wanted, but him, even just as a leader walking in, he lights up the room. It's just what he is. It's what he does. He used the word perfect to describe how this offensive line has to be. He talked to me about that. We'll share some of those clips over on our socials at Up and Adams Show. They know they have a big task at hand. They got to get past the Cardinals. They got to do it without 100% Joe Burrow. And he's just one of the best guys I've ever met. So I was so happy to support support that. And I'm thankful that when I post about it, people buy the hat. Go buy the hat, guys. Here's the QR code. It's on the screen. They're so close to $1 million in sales. And it's really like direct to people who are in need, who want to live more normal lives. So go to villageofmerici.org/donate. What a story to raise almost $1 million with this incredible community around the Bengals and around the NFL. So it's really incredible. Ted Karras, we caught you. And if you see a cause like this that I don't know about, that maybe isn't being talked about on the national level, we got budget. I'd like to donate to some of these causes and pay some good forward. So let me know over at Hey K Adams on Twitter. All right, let's bring it Hammer. But listen to this. Before we do, listen, we are 3 sleeps away from this huge matchup. It's the Cowboys. It's the Niners. It's in the Bay. Kyle Shanahan was asked yesterday what he would say to those who maintain that Brock Purdy is a system quarterback.
I mean, that's pretty ridiculous. You just got to watch the tape. I mean, he plays at a high level every time he's been out there. And he's done it in a lot of different situations versus a lot of different defenses, on the road, at home, in playoff games, when injured. You can't do all that stuff. He's been out there too long. It's on tape.
You know who's not watching the tape? Me. A lot of people pretend they watch the tape. They don't watch the tape. I don't watch the tape, but it is on the tape, as Shanahan says. And you know who I'm bringing in? Someone who's a sick pup and obsessed with all things tape. When you heard Kyle Shanahan say that, did you say, let's go?
I was excited to hear him say it because it is ridiculous at this point. You've talked about it, Kay. We've seen enough from Brock Purdy that it's just people are just trying to make headlines out of this, I guess, trying to poke holes in his game. But
is he that good?
When you do look, yeah, I think he is. When you do look at the tape, there's plenty to see. Let's look at some of that tape right now, and I'll show you. So here against the Cardinals last weekend, again, the system does help. The talent helps. Of course it does. It helps every quarterback. You see the collection of it here. Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, McCaffrey. And the play design helps too. You see the bunch up top. That's going to draw a lot of attention. Debo's going to clear things out. McCaffrey's going to run this little Texas route from the opposite side, which you don't see a lot because it takes a long time, especially in this area of the field. But again, the offensive line also needs to work, and they do a great job. You see the space that's created by Debo's clear out for McCaffrey. Purdy's able to deliver the ball for the touchdown. But again, even with all the talent, the scheme, everything working, you got to throw a perfect ball here. It's not like McCaffrey's wide open, and Purdy puts that thing right on the money for Christian to be able to make the grab and take it in for the score. I was writing
something. I hear you guys. Thank you.
And you'll see later in the game too. You got Debo in the backfield. You got McCaffrey in the slot running this jet. A lot of eye candy. Great play design here. But again, Purdy's got to make the right read, make the right throw. So here you'll see a little quarterback waggle. The flat defender has to widen out for McCaffrey off that jet sweep. You got a double team on Kittle. You got more flat support widening out for Debo. And that creates all that space for Ayuk to sneak behind on this deep cross to the sideline. But again, Purdy gets the ball out on time. It's in the perfect spot, and that's a huge gain downfield. But even when it isn't about the scheme, even when it's just about your quarterback making a play, we've seen Purdy get it done. This is just a simple back shoulder fade to Ayuk. But look at how perfectly Purdy executes this. This ball is coming out, and Ayuk is only 5 yards down the field. That's ridiculous anticipation. You have to have such great chemistry with your receivers to be able to make this throw. And he puts it in the perfect spot. Again, just 5 yards downfield when this ball is getting released, and it is in the absolute perfect spot. Ayuk knows it's coming, is able to make the adjustment, make the catch. And I think that's something that I haven't gotten credit for either. You don't see a lot of mental mistakes out of this group. You don't see miscommunications. They are on the same page. And Purdy is dealing right now. You don't luck into 20 of 21 in this league. It doesn't happen. You have to be good. And I think it's time for people to shut up and appreciate what he's doing right now.
And I like that you used the word waggle. I like that my mic was hot and you didn't. Talking about chemistry and not making mistakes. Mistake on ours. The second week in a row, we've interrupted your hammer time with something stupid. And you just kept going. And you just fought through adversity and you said, shut up, Kay. Shut up, just like you Niners haters. We have Debo on, and we're always trying to, I feel like we're always trying to get Debo. Like, I'm always trying to be like, well, Christian McCaffrey had Ayuk had a bit. Aren't you mad? Like, you just got and I don't know how much Brock Purdy has to do with that, but I think something. I think they like this the the AP European cool college professor, like PA guy. Like he's there's something about him that sort of has to do with what this team is like when nobody's yelling for the ball, nobody's doing anything like that. And I mean, the Niners are what, 3.5-point favorites? What do you got?
Yeah, Niners are 3.5-point favorites against the Cowboys this weekend over on FanDuel Sportsbook. I really like that number with the way they're playing right now. You said it before, the way that I think they're better than they were last year, and it's hard not to like them in this game.
I know we'll see about the turnovers. No Trayvon Diggs, of course, Micah Parsons, both sides. It's like this is the game I cannot wait. We're going to learn so much about both sides here. Now, a win would give the Niners their 15th straight regular season win. So that would tie their franchise record from 1989 to 1990 with Joe Montana and Steve Young at quarterback, right? It gives them a top 10 streak in NFL history and the first 15-game win streak that we've seen since the Packers did it in 2010 to 2011. Just a little trivia out there for the people out there wondering about what this team is doing. And we'll see. And like, I don't know. I just texted Richard for an update on Debo. I don't know if he's coming on. I don't quite know what the deal is. Do we have an update? He's not coming on. Oh, we have no update from Debo. That's a bummer. Okay. Well, hopefully he, Dean, no, how about it? I mean, he's not quite right, but it kind of doesn't matter if he's out there being a decoy. Like you, I mean, he was every one of those Christian McCaffrey or at least half of those Christian McCaffrey touchdowns, he had a roll in.
Yeah, absolutely. The blocking downfield, he does all the little things, and I don't think Debo gets enough credit for that. Even when he's not getting the ball, his blocking, he runs his routes hard, even when, as you said, he is kind of a decoy, a clear out route. He has a huge role, and you saw it last week. He barely touched the ball and had a tremendous impact on the game. So obviously they will miss him, but there is so much talent there that they should be able to make it work even without him. We saw when Ayuk missed that Giants game, they still were able to make it work. He's obviously a key part of what they do too. So this offense, I think they still find a way, even if Debo can't go. But if he is out there, it's so hard to stop.
Well, they're not going undefeated, right? What are we talking about here? Because it must be nice that maybe your best, maybe with the most dynamic weapon, you've got a couple of them on your team, might not play, I mean, we don't know where Debo is with his injuries, right? We haven't talked to him. I'm sure he'll suit up, but like they can just operate without him and no one's worried. They're in fact still favored.
Yeah, it is kind of wild. And I think it speaks to the depth that they have on this team and all of the playmakers they have. Because, as you said, there are games when like certain guys don't get the ball and, now this allows them to spread the ball around a little bit more. And yeah, I wouldn't be, it really doesn't, as much as they will miss him. I still think they win this game, even if he doesn't play.
Hey, do you want to go to London this weekend?
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, this Bill, you're the Jags super fan, and we love the Bills here on the show. We got to talk about this. We're going to take a break here. We're going to have Darius Butler on. I tasked Darius Butler. Well, I asked Marissa to ask Darius Butler through 4 weeks, who's the mayor of Shutdown City? Who's crushing it from the DB perspective? So we'll have that with Darius. We'll get you set for these games, his thoughts and prop bets for you. Go play our parlay over on FanDuel Sportsbook. Guys, I'm giving you guys lots of homework today. Go support Cincy and Ted Karras over there. And then we're going to have Joe Posnanski on the show. Hat tip right after that. See this book? See this? That's Stevie Wonder. That's Introversions. And then you got Joe Posnanski. He's going to be breaking down this bracket with us. We're going to talk about his new book, Why We Love Baseball. You need a gift idea? Buy the book! This is the first time seeing the postseason bracket. Who's in the playoffs? I know the Phillies are because Marissa. That's the only reason. And was there a grand slam last night? Was there a grand slam? What do you mean she's running prompter for who? What does that mean? She's running prompter. Okay. Okay. I saw did you see that thing? I'm sure you saw it already. That I retweeted it like without the announcers on it. You could just hear like the surround sound of the Grand Slam. It was crazy. It woke me up this morning. Great. Okay, who wins the World Series? Let me take a look. Can I see that let me see that thing again. Let me see that bracket. Okay, let's see. I'm going to say, well, Dodgers, right? They're already Dodgers, Phillies. Who wins Dodgers, Phillies? The Dodgers win. The Dodgers are going to win. Mookie. And then on the other side, never the Stros. Sorry. And then you've got, I'm going to say the Orioles. I'm going to say it's going to be an Orioles, Dodgers World Series, Camden Yards vibes. Two historic stadiums, rematch of 1966. I'm being told in my ear. That's what good producing is. You can come back on cam. That's good producing, people. You think I knew that it was 1966? No. My director, Derek, just told me that in my ear. Do you know that I once shared a cab home with Adam Jones and his brother at the World Series and with Derek Jeter in Kansas City? Not the World Series, the All-Star game. He was in the cab. And so was Carl Crawford. It was the All-Star. It was an All-Star lineup. But Adam Jones, delightful. Andrew McCutcheon, is he still playing? He's great. Loved him. Big fan. Kansas City. Okay. I don't know if it was a cab or are you getting money from Starbucks every time you sip your coffee? I'm not, but I shouldn't be paying for this. My producer should be. He's listening. So I'm going to bill. I owe him quite a receipt for the last year and a half. Guys, we have Joe Posnanski on. Let's do it. Pretty cool. Magical moment for Bryson Stott out there. A grand slam. Listen, I love the NFL. I work in the NFL. It is my bread and butter. It is my passion. I love the storylines. I love the drama. I love the playoffs. There's nothing like an MLB playoff. There's just nothing like it. There's nothing like being there, the weather, the smell, the ambiance, the people. There's nothing like it. And my next guest, I use that word magical on purpose because he talks about magical moments and he uses words like joyous to describe them. And that's why we love the positivity of it. So here to talk about some magical moments, 50 of them, in fact, in his New York Times bestseller, Why We Love Baseball, A History in 50 Moments, a 5-time National Sports Writer of the Year, I believe. A joy to have that we are joyful to welcome my good friend, Joe Posnanski. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm so good. Let's talk about the book. What inspired this one? It was along in the plans, and how do you feel about it now that it's done and out?
I couldn't be happier about it being done and out. I mean, it's been really an incredible run with this one. I think it was inspired. My last book was the Baseball 100. It was a countdown of the 100 greatest players. And I just kept hearing from people about, they wanted to tell me their story, why they fell in love with baseball, why they love it. Your opening talking about what it is to be at a baseball game, as a playoff game, how there's nothing quite like it. I mean, I just kept hearing that over and over and over again from people. And I thought, I want to write a book called Why We Love Baseball that talks about these moments that just stay with us forever. And that Bryson Stott grand slam you just showed is one of those moments. Nobody who was there is going to forget being there. It's really a cool thing.
And I think mine was in 2011. David Freese hits the homer, and it was just the craziest. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget how the air felt. It was so visceral and magical, like you're saying. And you say in your book, which I loved, that you used to go to the library as a kid, like 3 times a week minimum, trying to find a new sports book to read. And you've written so many, and we love that you have this new magical addition to that. And it claims to have 50 moments, but there's actually 108 sprinkled in. So you're kind of getting a bang for your buck, people. If you love baseball baseball, you love sports, and you rank them, which had to be just a labor of love to do. You rank them 50-1. So I thought we could hop around a little bit and start with one that we saw, and I think it's the 37th most magical moment. It's the bow throw. So tell me, well, it's a little football tie-in, of course. What makes that one so special?
There's so many things that make it special, but I love that you're showing the video of it, because that's such a big part of what makes it special. Bo goes back to the wall. He gets the ball. He makes this absurd throw, but we don't even see it because the camera cuts away. So we just see Harold Reynolds trying to score, and then suddenly the ball just appears like magic. I mean, it's really, really cool. Look, there he's throwing, and that's it. You don't see the ball come in, and there it is all of a sudden. And it's so cool. And so much of it is that it was Bo, right? I mean, it's probably, in my mind, maybe the greatest throw ever in baseball history. But so much of that is because Bo did those kinds of magical things over and over again. He ran up walls and he broke bats over his head and hit these crazy home runs. So he was such a magical player himself. And to me, this was sort of his moment,
Yeah, Bo knows. I mean, the nightmares Harold Reynolds still must have about this moment we talked on our morning meeting. We're like, Thursday Night Football, yeah, and everyone wanted to talk about the Bo throw on our morning production meeting at 5. So that was really cool. Okay, I'm taking you to number 34 because just the history of Major League Baseball is so rich that it's sort of wild that the new shiny toy, that Ohtani striking out Trout, makes it that high into the most, magical, joyous moments in MLB vibes. So tell me why that made the list.
Well, here we are again. I mean, he's such a magical player that I rewrote that chapter like 4 different times. Like one of at one point, the moment was back-to-back games in Kansas City where he threw 8 shutout innings in one game and the next day hit 2 home runs. This year he's had a double header where he threw a shutout and then hit 2 home runs in the second game. He's doing things that have never been done before, things that were really unimaginable. And for that chapter, I actually talked to Dave Winfield, who was, he's obviously in the Hall of Fame as a hitter, but he was a great, great pitcher in college. And I wanted to talk to him, like, could you have done this, and is this, because it was something that not only nobody had ever done, nobody was even allowed to do it. They would never let a big time pitching prospect or a big time hitting prospect do the other thing. Like, that just never happened. And the only reason it happened this time is because Shohei Ohtani insisted on it, wouldn't come to play in the United States for a team that didn't let him do this. So he's incredible. Every day he seems to do something amazing. And that ending, him against Trout, his teammate, the guy who was the greatest player of his generation, you don't get better than that.
Can you sort of contextualize Shohei to me as far as being a star? So you mentioned Trout, like, has he surpassed Trout? And we have to also consider that, you said of his generation, like, now we live in a generation where there's been rule changes to shorten games, and stars like, Shohei is helping the attendance in stadiums are going up, close to 10% this year. So, the biggest star in the world is Taylor Swift. And I know your 2 daughters, Elizabeth and Katie, are both huge Swifties. Is he like Taylor Swift of MLB, bigger or less than Mike Trout? Like, where does he lay?
I think where he lays, and I mean, you're the perfect person to talk to about this, because obviously you're very big in the NFL. You know all sports and all of that. He is the one guy, I think, right now who could host Saturday Night Live. Right? Like, that's what Travis Kelce is, a big enough star. Patrick Mahomes is a big enough star. There are a few guys in the NFL who you would say, yeah, they're famous enough they could host Saturday Night Live. Mike Trout, as great as he was, and I think he's one of the greatest players ever. He's in my Baseball 100. He's high up in that. Mike Trout wasn't going to host Saturday Night Live. I mean, he just didn't have that kind of sort of charisma or he just wasn't as well known. And there are great players in the game now, like Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani and Ronald Acuna Jr. and on and on and on. But to me, the one that transcends the game, which is what we're talking about, sort of LeBron and others in the NBA, or Patrick Mahomes in the NFL, the guy who transcends the game right now is Shohei Ohtani.
The thing about it, just what you're saying, you mentioned Kelsey. Kelsey really launched into superstardom after he won his second Super Bowl. You know, we have Gronk on our show every week. He's won 4. You're mentioning LeBron. He's won a handful, but Shohei hasn't even won. So like when he it's crazy that he has that sort of a draw, because it really is the rings that put you into that conversation that allow for the SNL invitation. Like Travis Kelce is not getting the invitation for SNL without that second ring. It's just not happening.
No, totally right. And it's a big drawback. It was a big drawback for Mike Trout too. Not only has he never won a championship, they've never made the playoffs with him. I mean, that Angels team has really let both Ohtani and Trout down. So yeah, I mean, no question about it. I will say it's a little bit different in baseball in the sense of that one guy can't really carry a team the way that a Patrick Mahomes can carry a team, or the way LeBron can carry a team, Steph Curry can carry a team. In other sports, that's not really true in baseball. And the best player in the game the last decade, I think none of them have won the World Series. Mookie Betts did win in 2018, but I mean, in general, that's very, very difficult to do. But yes, no, there's no question that what Mike Trout needed, what Shohei Ohtani needs, what we're going to maybe see this year from Ronald Acuna Jr. is you go to a different stratosphere when you win a championship.
All right, let's talk some playoff baseball, Joe. It was straight sweeps, easy peasy in the wild card round last night. You know, I loved how I'm not that plugged into baseball. I'm looking at the scores: Rangers, D-backs, the Twins, the Phillies. They're all advancing to the divisional series. Which of these teams advancing was the biggest surprise to you, or who are you drawn to, and who's giving you those 2019 Washington National vibes?
Yeah, the team that gives me those vibes are the Phillies, again, because they did it last year. There's still that same sort of energy. That ballpark is just absolutely nuts. They're the best, I think, of the 4. In my mind, they're the best. I mean, the Rangers are really good and probably should have won that division. But the Phillies, to me, they've got this buzz, this energy that when you play in that park, it's really electric. But they've got the toughest, they've got to beat the Braves and then potentially the Dodgers, the 2 best teams, I think, in the game. So they've got the very, very tough route. The biggest surprise was probably Arizona. I mean, I think, that series was in Milwaukee. You would have thought that the Brewers were going to pitch well enough to win that series. The Brewers had leads in both of the 2 games, a 3-run lead and a 2-run lead. So you would have thought the Brewers were going to come through on that one. But Arizona, played very, very well. I think that I wasn't as surprised by Tampa Bay losing, even though they won 99 games this year. The Rangers are really good. Plus, that was a really disappointing just scene, right? It was, they had the lowest crowds there since the 1919 World Series. I mean, that's a bad scene for the Rays and for baseball. So that whole thing just kind of felt dead, and the Rangers really took advantage of that.
So we got the Stros. They're trying to go back-to-back in World Series. The Braves won it the year before them, and the Dodgers, like you were saying, the year before that. So they're the 3 sort of odds-on favorites to take it all. Who of those 3 are you leaning towards to retake the crown?
It's tough to root against. I mean, you can root against them all you want. It's tough to pick against the Braves. That lineup is literally, there are statistical arguments to be made that this year's Braves lineup is the best in baseball history. I mean, they tied for the all-time home run record. They set the slugging percentage record. They're just dominant from 1 to 9 in that lineup. So they're going to be very, very tough to beat. The Astros, they have not played that well this year, but somehow they're the Astros, and you just kind of figure they're going to figure it out. And it would not surprise me to see a Houston-Atlanta World Series. The one I want.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that, right? We all. I think the
that.
Orioles are exciting, and I would love to see the Orioles.
Okay.
There.
Well, they're the 1 seed in the AL, right? Their manager, Brandon Hyde, first manager since Connie Mack to coach a team to 100 losses and then go on to coach them to 100 wins. I did my homework. And I'm reading my Why We Love Baseball. My question about this young Orioles team, Joe, is how could you leave Jim Palmer off your 100 players list?
The good news is that he is not even the Orioles player I've heard most about for the Baseball 100. I have heard certainly people saying, how could you leave Jim Palmer off the list? But it's Eddie Murray who I've actually heard the most about.
Okay.
And it's pretty much every other day I hear from people saying, how could you leave Eddie Murray out? And there's no right answer. Both of those guys are all-time greats and should have been on the list. But then somebody else is off the list, right? So that's the problem with limiting the thing to 100.
It's a hard gig for you to definitely do that. And we've got a history in 50 moments. And by the way, for Orioles fans out there, we've got a lot on our staff up in Adams. First playoff appearance since 2016. Good luck. 28th out of the 30th in payroll. So wishing all the teams good luck in a very exciting, thrilling, always fun MLB playoff. I wanted to ask you about Mr. Baseball because he's obviously a legend. You could write a whole book about him, I'm sure, Mr. Bob Uecker. And the Brewers, of course, out. But every year the question sort of arises if he'll come back for one more magical year. What do you make of what he said last night, which is, we'll see you. I think he said something like, we'll see you later. We'll see you next year. And I was like, what does that mean? What does Uke mean to the game?
He is the game. I mean, to me, it was Vin Scully and Bob Uecker in two completely different styles and two completely different sides of the game. The poetic side of Vin Scully and the hilarious side of Bob Uecker. He is, to me, not only just this incredibly iconic baseball, legend on so many levels. I think he might be the funniest guy in the history of American sports. Like pure funny. Like if you just want to just have somebody tell you stories and make you just laugh, I don't think it's possible to be funnier than Bob Uecker. He's absolute. And Al Michaels actually told me that what he would do is when he was announcing with Bob Uecker, he would laugh during the broadcast, but he would laugh much harder between innings because Uecker is that funny. And he's the greatest, and I want him to just go on forever. Of course we do.
And he's still crushing it. And I hope he goes on as long as he wants. And I hope you do too, Joe. That was a great story about Al Michaels. You've written 8 books so far. Here's the latest, guys. Pick it up. It's Why We Love Baseball, History in 50 Moments. And I heard very quickly, are our worlds colliding? Did I hear, is this rumor true that you're potentially working on a football book?
We are working on a football book as we speak, and it is going to be similar, I think, to this book in the sense of I'm looking at moments and it is. I am really in the middle of it, but I cannot wait to share it with you. Okay, you're the person I'm going to be thinking about as I get this thing going.
Well, I'm sure I'll be lamenting the lack of bears in those pages of the greatest moments of the NFL. But Joe,
there's some bears.
Sure, yeah, 85. I wasn't even born yet. Cool, Bears, cool. Okay, we appreciate you. Thank you for the playoff preset and setting the table for us. And of course, congrats on the book, Joe.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll be back after this. Big thanks to Joe Posnanski. That was great. Loved that. Loved the Uke story. Love the love for the Orioles. Who you guys got in the playoffs? Who you guys got winning it all? We'll be back with Darius Butler after this. Can I talk to Eric? Can you get on the heads?
Hey, Gabe.
Hi. Great job. He was great. He's so great.
That was so awesome. Thank you so much
What
for
a
getting
legend.
that Uecker question in. I was telling everybody in the chat.
Michael's story was cool.
Oh, man. He's got all these one-liners. He's like, the best way to
very cute.
catch a knuckleballer, or best way to catch a knuckleball, you chase it. I mean, it's it's Bob Uecker. You met Bob Uecker, right?
I did. I met Bob Uecker. I met him. I went down the slide or whatever, the Brewer slide, and then I got to go meet him. And he was just the warmest, sweetest, most amazing. He's a legend. Like, it's hard to be in a legend's presence like that. You're just like, oh my God. But it was an unforgettable moment for sure. And we ate some Cedar Crest ice cream for those Wisconsin fans.
Did you put on
out
You
there who
Singer's
talks
bra?
about it? No, I didn't do that, but we did. But he was great, and it was just like it was one of those things I'll never forget. But I love that. I mean, yeah, Joe goes, he is baseball. I thought that was really cool.
I 100% agree, man. And he is the funniest.
And he's sharp. Like, I can't. Like, he's gosh, how old is he?
I think he's 89 years old. That's what I want to say. 89. He threw out the first pitch.
Smart as a whip.
Like 2 days ago.
I know. I love that. Okay, so we're gonna have. But I was just great interview by you.
Thanks so much. It was
great question.
It was a joy to read that book, and everybody on the chat, please check it out. Buy it, read it.
It's actually a great just gift, I think.
Yeah.
We're big Joe fans. Yep. All right. See you, Eric.
All right,
I hear you. What's up, Goldberg? Bye. Okay. Great. Yeah, let's do that. It's gonna fall. Oh shit. Do that, and then let's do that. There we go. Well, if that worked. What is this like a Nerf ball over there? Where did that come from? All right, guys. Daniel Jones tomorrow, okay? Here we go. All right, the DB of DBs is back with us, the host of the Man to Man podcast. Darius Butler, what do I need to know about this? I'm sick of seeing these images.
Absolutely nothing. I wish I knew nothing about it. I wish I never saw it. Jimmy, he always has his antics this time of year with Media Day, just to troll, I guess, the media members and where they got to put his picture all year long. But I'm not sure how I felt about that one, Jimmy. Emo Jimmy.
Emo Jimmy, I don't get it. I keep seeing it everywhere, so I had to ask you, since we love to talk a little MLB on the show, to whet our appetite for what's going on in the NFL. So, by the way, congrats on the McAfee success. Saw those numbers. Amazing.
It's been fun.
It's insane. It's so good. I love it. Congrats to you and all those guys over there for all your hard work. I think people think it's easy to do and to just do every day the way you guys do, bringing it at the level. So just congrats on all the early success of Pat McAfee show. And you're a big part of that, of course. I want to get to some news, DB. You're welcome.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about Christian Gonzalez, because you've talked about him a lot. Okay. And you liked him. This is one of your favorite rookies, of course. And we got to talk about a couple of them, because Ian's saying Gonzalez is going to miss the whole season with a torn labrum. So big loss. What are they losing in Christian Gonzalez?
I mean, just a young, obviously young, rookie guy, but big, physical, fast, can run, ball skills. He's everything you want in a modern day corner. And obviously going to be losing him for this year. Probably was in the front of that defensive rookie of the year, conversation at this point, with another corner we'll talk about, and also what Jalen Carter is doing out there in Philly. But he's a phenomenal corner. Obviously, they traded for J.C. Jackson. They have some other injuries in the secondary as well, but they're definitely going to miss Gonzo back there for sure.
Now, Devin Witherspoon played out of his mind. It was so fun to see. We fell in love with him at the draft. It was, Daniel Jones hasn't been on our show all week because he's still healing up from what happened to him. 7 tackles, 2 sacks from Devin Witherspoon. Witherspoon had Lil Spoon, as he calls himself, an interception. He had a touchdown. He had a pass deflection. Just so crazy. He currently has the second best odds to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. So you're saying Gonzalez was in the mix. He's clearly knocked out. So he's right behind Jalen Carter, who you mentioned. Yeah. Is it too early to place a bet for Lil Spoon?
I mean, it's good value there. Those Jalen Carter odds, those aren't going to get any lower. That's not, great value there. He's a beast. And you expect the Philadelphia Eagles to continue winning, obviously continue playing on prime time. You're going to see him more. We don't see Lil Spoon as much. Being out there in the Pacific Northwest, it's tough to see the Seahawks play, as much. We see him on prime time, obviously. But you're going to see Jalen Carter more. They're probably going to be winning a little more this year, so he's the easier bet, but better value there with Lil Spoon. And he's only going to get better because they bumped him inside due to injury. So now you see him being able to use his blitzing skills, his hitting skills, and also his ball skills. You saw him that 97-yard pick six. But he'll continue to be phenomenal this year. He's
just be playing. I mean, Harrison Smith, I was talking about how versatile he is. Like, he's had 3 sacks last week, and here comes Devin Witherspoon just all over the stat sheet, just insane numbers. So if I were to get in a car right now, the only place I'd want to go is Shutdown City. Let's go. I need a mayor. Listen, we got 4 weeks. I can't believe we're 4 weeks in. We have seen some guys playing lights out, shutting down receivers, weeks run through 4. Who can we name and crown the mayor of Shutdown City through 4 weeks?
I couldn't just give it one. It had to be 2 of them. You just mentioned both of them. Devin Witherspoon as a rookie and Harrison Smith. Harrison Smith, now he plays in Minnesota. So we don't, for some reason, we haven't talked about Harrison Smith, I think, the way we should have throughout his career, 12-year career. He's been great, not only in the run game, in the pass game, blitzing. He's had to play under a lot of different defensive schemes and always productive, but he's been great. And obviously, Devin Witherspoon as a rookie. I don't know if it's Devon or Devin. I want to say his name right because I was saying Chan's name wrong out there in Miami for a couple weeks. So I want to make sure I got Devin's name right. But he's been a monster, man. To come in.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm saying to come in and play that well as a rookie, and then also to go in there and be able to play on the inside part of the defense, what Witherspoon is doing. That talented Seattle defensive secondary, we still haven't seen in full strength yet with Jamal Adams out there, but he's a great young player and a great defensive secondary room as well.
A lot of people thinking Harrison Smith, Hall of Fame, ? He's got the stats. He needs a ring. He also needs to do what he did last week in a big game. He's got the Chiefs. You do that to Mahomes, you sack him 3 times. Now we're building your case for the Hall of Fame because you make a great point about Witherspoon. He's up there in the Pacific Northwest. You need eyes on him. You need somebody to make a case. Yep. And people need to see the work that he's doing. Okay, I want to talk about tonight's game. Is Chicago ever going to win a game? Do they have a chance tonight against Washington at FedEx Field?
Definitely have a chance because Washington, the Commanders aren't necessarily world beaters. You've been trying to manifest this win and this victory for Bears for some weeks now. Even I remember you saying that maybe they could beat the Chiefs. And I thought you were a little crazy then, but you were a little sleep deprived, so it was okay. But
True.
Washington Commanders, they got a good chance tonight to get a win. I'm still going with the Commanders in a close one though.
The Commanders in a close one now. And I'm sure we'll get a Monday Night Football parlay, guys. Go follow Darius Butler on Twitter and all of his socials to get that because he usually has the winning ticket. So we've got 30 seconds. I'll give it to you. Anything else? No, not really. Bills, Jags, you got a winner there?
I'm going Bills. Bills are wagging right now with how Josh Allen and that defense is playing. They look like world beaters. Not the Commanders, but they look like world beaters right now for sure.
I love that. I saw CJ Stroud joining the McAfee show today. Darius Butler, we love you. We appreciate you. And we hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you, too.
All right. Thank you. We're going to get to some of those Eagles, Rams odds tomorrow. We'll get to the Chiefs and the Vikings. We'll get through all of those, get you some props. Go play Gronk and I's parlay for tonight, hours from now. Bears, Commanders. It's 4 legs and there's bonus bets. It's a no sweat bet. And we will have Daniel Jones on the show tomorrow. Have a good day, everybody.